Tori Kruse. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. I really appreciate it. Hi Dani, how are you?
I'm doing well, Tori. How are you doing?
Good. It's so great to see you. It's been since the Global Beauty Awards, I think, was the last.
No, Miss USA.
Oh, Miss USA! Duh! How could I forget?
We went to Miss USA.
We went to dinner together. We hung out together. Went to the competition.
You forgot all about it already. It's okay.
There's a reason why I have blonde hair.
No, no, we're all over the place. No, we're everywhere.
So Dani is my Miss USA sister. We competed at Miss USA together. We've had many experiences. She's one of my dearest friends from Miss USA, and I'm just excited to have you on the show. So thank you for your time, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I was so excited. Yes, we were in the lineup together. So Missouri and Montana.
Dancing buddies.
Yep. Together the whole time. We like talk about experiencing something together. We experienced that together. So
we did. What are you doing now? What are your future plans? And tell everyone about your pageant coaching business too.
Yay! Okay. Aside from being Miss Montana USA 2018, I am also a pageant coach. And more importantly, what I'm focusing on now is YouTube. I started my YouTube channel technically in 2014, although the channel wasn't really active at that point. I wasn't consistently posting, and really that's where my focus is now, is growing that YouTube channel so I can continue to help a lot of young women who are interested in competing in pageants. Surprisingly, I get a lot of viewers who don't know anything about pageants and they like watching it to understand better the pageant world. So I like that I can address new audiences, but now because of the growth of the channel and my social media, I have decided to expand on the channel and start teaching people not just about how to be successful in pageants, but how to be successful in YouTube and how you can use YouTube as just an additional tool to grow your business. So that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Oh, actually, I totally forgot the other thing. Because of the pageant coaching, I am in the process right now of launching e-courses for pageant contestants at a lower price than one-on-one coaching. I thought that there was something missing in our industry. There was always one-on-one coaching or maybe group classes that were very limited, but there wasn't anything for girls that were accessible 24 hours a day at a lower price point. So I decided to roll out these online e-courses for girls. It's been a huge undertaking and it's totally new for me. And so right now it's very much trial and error, but I'm hoping that it's going to be very useful for people, but we'll see. I just have to launch it, get past that point, and then get feedback and then adjust from there. So it's
absolutely
kind of a thing.
You don't know if you don't try.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
That's exciting. So is Miss Montana USA, I know it took a few years before you got the crown, as did it me with Miss Missouri, so I completely understand. But tell the viewers what your journey was like, because I think that's super inspiring that you stuck with it.
Thank you. Yes, I competed for 7 years, and I'll be really honest, one of my biggest, I would say, obstacles for competing was just finances. There's no other way to put it. If you want to compete in the USA system, it can get really, really pricey. And when I started competing, I just did not have, I would say, steady income or extra income to be able to support this. So there was a lot of help from sponsors and friends and family members, and then also even competing in local pageants for the system in order to pay for state registration fees and get sponsors for gowns and all, as you know, all the little things that add up, it's just like, oh my gosh, wait, I need a swimsuit. How much is that? And I need shoes. And what about all the makeup and all that is rehearsal. And even thinking about the gas to get to rehearsal, the extra hotels and the things that come up. So that for me was one of the biggest, I would say, hurdles to kind of get over. That took several years. But I have to say one of the best lessons I learned from that experience was It taught me I needed to be financially responsible, which I wasn't in the beginning of my journey. It taught me that I needed to learn how to budget my finances in order to finance my dreams. And I think that a lot of girls have this impression that we're all so special and unique, and we all look at ourselves and think, I'm amazing, why wouldn't they pick me? And we think that a lot of stuff should almost be handed to us because we see all the great things in ourselves. But a lot of girls, I believe, aren't successful in pageantry because they aren't willing to invest in themselves. And that either means with time or with finances, especially in my case. So I had to become financially responsible to be able to make that dream a reality. And then I would say the other biggest hurdle in the 7 years was really losing the support of friends and family. Going to the pageant, and it's one thing to go to a pageant and be on stage when everybody's there supporting you. Yes. It's another thing to be there on stage and walk away another year without the crown. And it almost in a way proves to your friends and family members that they're right every time you walk home without the crown, because they look at it, they might not understand pageants, and they might not get what you're doing or how that plays a role in your bigger picture. Right. And you sort of look at it and just think, oh, you lost again. Well, told you so, right? So that was the other really hard thing, was every year my desire grew in my heart for reaching that Miss USA stage, but then my support diminished. So it was a really weird dynamic, and I kept believing in myself more and more, and everybody around me didn't. It was the opposite. So, kind of overcoming that, I think, was a really big mental obstacle for me. And I know a lot of girls deal with that, but it is something that if you have to deal with it and you really care about your goal, you got to get over it. And you got to figure out how to really, I would say, sort of self-motivate and figure out what's really driving you so you don't burn out from whatever goal you're trying to reach.
Right. So how did you not burn out? What was that driving, that end goal? Because I know it's really hard if you don't have supporters, and you start to doubt the process a little bit. And it's no, this is in my heart for a reason. So what was that like? You know what? I am going to do this. I don't care if it's the last year that I can compete. I'm still going to do it. So tell us a little bit about that.
So for me, the fire started in my heart before I started competing. So I had always thought in my mind that I wanted to, reach the Miss America stage. To me, the idea of competing at Miss USA was so intimidating. I had held titles in the past when I was, I would say, junior teen and teenage, and I had been competing in pageants. And it's funny, you look at title holders, even at younger ages, and you think, oh, she has the title, she must be so confident. And yes and no, we still have those doubts. So for me, when I thought of Miss USA, that was the ultimate. That was oh my gosh, I could never. I thought that truly. I thought I could never really compete at Miss USA because these women are just they're not even real. They're untouchable to me. So in my mind, Miss America seemed a little easier, and so I was okay, I should pursue Miss America. And I did that organization, and then I didn't fit. It did not fit with me. And I think that that's important too, recognizing, not trying to fit the square peg into the round hole, and going this was my dream and I'm sticking with it, and it's not working for me. And when I got to the organization, that was my experience. Even though I have great friends who love the organization and have really experienced great success, for me it wasn't working. And I decided, I was I'm not doing any pageants anymore. And then randomly, my cousin, who, it's funny, she doesn't even do pageants, but she invited me to a USA local pageant, and I had never seen one. I'd only watched Miss USA. And coincidentally, Nia Sanchez was competing at that pageant.
Oh, wow.
And I will never forget her red Giovanni dress, what she was wearing. And I saw her on stage, and I just thought that, the minute I saw Nia, I was that girl's the winner. Without this girl's gonna do it. And something about seeing her on stage and how sweet she was, and how natural she was. She just was not forced. Yeah. And when I saw that, I just thought, I can totally do that too. I can do what she just did. So after that, I started entering these USA locals, but it was from that first moment of seeing Nia, in my mind, I committed, I'm getting to Miss USA. And that was in 2011 that I saw her compete. And I was wow, this is for me. It's going to happen. And I would say, though, the thing that kept me coming back and really kept that fire there was every time I did compete within USA, like I made really, really great friends. I formed these great relationships, which I loved. And I just thought, heck, if I like walk out with another best friend next time, like that's a win to me. I also saw how I was growing. So whether that was my physical body and how I was putting my health first, which just made me feel so much better as a person. And that helped my confidence grow.
Oh, I'm sure.
Whether I saw the way that my style changed, whether I saw how much more comfortable I got on stage or at events or in photo shoots and all those things. And I was like, I realized no matter what happens, even if I go through this whole journey and I don't get that state crown and I don't get to Miss USA, I was like, there's so many opportunities around me and I'm going to take advantage of them, but I can only take advantage if I'm entered in the pageant. Like I can only do things.
That's so true. Yes.
So for me, it was like, yes, my goal is to get to Miss USA, but if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be okay with that because I'm open to all the opportunities. So I would say all those other opportunities from just competing is kind of really what kept me going, like that constant growth.
Right.
And then I always got something from the experience. It was, to me, people were like, don't you feel like it was for nothing if you didn't win Miss USA? And I'm like, it's not for nothing. And I feel like you might feel the same way.
Yes, completely.
We learned so much about ourselves in that
experience. Oh my gosh, so much.
That how is that a waste? That transfers to every area of our life.
And it was so far out of our comfort zone too at that time. And even going to Miss USA was a little bit out of our comfort zone. Every step is outside of our comfort zone. It doesn't matter. I mean, I saw butterflies going on the Miss USA stage. I mean, it was like I was looking on, I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we do. We still doubt ourselves sometimes. I mean, we're human. But it is, you do hit that point though where it's like, okay, maybe I am made for this, but the opportunity in itself, if it doesn't present itself, then we still did learn a ton. Oh, yeah. And I think that is the greatest thing about pageantry and our whole journey here is how long we were fighting for this title, you know, like for ourselves, we're like, we just want this so bad. And for others in the, you know, you can impact others so much with it. And that was one of the greatest rewards, I think. So.
And I think that's one of the benefits of competing for a long time is you have a true appreciation and you really value the experience. It's not like a thing where you've never done a pageant and you win and all of a sudden you're like thrust into this new world. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, I didn't expect this. I didn't know what to do. And you, not that you don't deserve that opportunity because it was truly meant to be in your life. But I think that just spending more time, you know, working for that dream, the appreciation so much like deeper. You're like, oh my gosh, I finally did it. And I think that's also an important thing to think about when you're pursuing any goal outside of pageants. It's like, if you look at your experience within pageantry, like for us, it's like that 7. Did you compete 8 years or 7?
I competed 6, but it was an 8-year process.
Yeah.
I just took a couple years off. So I say 8 because I was still trying for it.
Exactly.
I was working for it every day still.
Exactly. Some days you don't you sit out because you're like, I'm going to do this strategically. I need more growth and this isn't enough time to do it. It's not time in the year. And I know people don't get that about pageants. Sometimes you do need that time. But it's just like when you look at that entire journey, you do have that really, really great appreciation. And I think that you have so much more to share with others who want to follow in your footsteps. You have a different perspective of it. So I'm thankful, actually, looking back, I'm thankful. And it means that I got to go to Miss USA with you. So the time
I know, it was so much fun. Okay, so from pageantry to now a YouTube star, you have over 17,000 followers. That's incredible. So do you think your pageant journey helped lead you to where you are today with YouTube? And then kind of describe your process with the YouTube channel and how you got all of those followers.
Okay, so like I said, I started it in 2014, and it's funny because when I started, I did not know that being a YouTuber was a thing. That was people's jobs, and there were these like YouTubers. I had no idea. I never spent time on YouTube. So the reason my channel started was because I would always get messages from girls, and they were asking me questions about the other system I had competed in when I was younger, which was National American Miss. And I was very successful there, and I held multiple titles. And so obviously they knew that they had gotten a word from other friends that I'm willing to talk about it. So I would get all these messages and these girls would ask me very similar questions. So in my mind, I thought, you know what? I know what I can do. I'll answer these common questions and I'll upload it on YouTube. So the next time somebody asks me, I just send them a link.
Here's the link.
Yes, that's what I thought. I just thought, I'm going to send them a link and it's going to be so much easier. And I won't have to write these novels to girl after girl.
Smart business move.
Yeah, it was just time consuming. So I uploaded them and the videos were up for about a year and I never checked on them. There was maybe like 3 or 4 videos. And I remember one day my mom was like, hey, have you checked out the videos that you posted? And I was like, no. She's like, there's a lot of comments. People are asking you all these questions. And I was like, really? Should I check? Should I log in? Didn't know my login name anymore. I couldn't even remember. So I finally like get access to my account again, see all the questions. And then I looked at all of them and I thought, wait a second, hold on. I might have like found something. I might have discovered something here. I said, these girls want this information and I have it. And when it was so early, the channel, my only thought was I can help other girls. When I heard these girls' stories and the struggles that they had, I said, I had those struggles too. I just want to help you. In the beginning, it was not a business at all. Because I had no clue that you could be a YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
So I just started answering these questions and creating these like new episodes to address the common questions because I truly wanted to help. And then I found out, oh, you can monetize YouTube. And I was like, wait, people, hold on a second. So I started researching and then I was finding out little by little, oh, people get paid for this. And I was like, how do I do that? And they're like, oh, you need 1,000 subscribers. And I was like, okay, I think
1,000, I got this.
I was like, I think I can get 1,000. And actually I hit the 1,000 really quickly. I didn't even have to, I would say, struggle or do anything because all I was doing was one of the first rules of YouTube, which is consistency. That's how people used to grow big YouTube channels. It was basically, if you post a video every week, you'll have a massive channel. It was kind of like the thing. It's not anymore. It's way more complex than that. But I just started getting consistent and growing, and I hit that 1,000 pretty quick. And within no time, honestly, because in the year that I left the channel unmanaged, it already had several hundred followers. And then, so I hit the 1,000 really quickly. I monetized it, and I didn't start posting consistently and treating the channel seriously until 2016.
Okay.
So that's when I realized this could be a business. And that's when so many girls started asking for pageant coaching. So the YouTube channel turned into this coaching business. And I had been coaching girls actually since 2008, but I had always done it for free. And then when I got so many requests, and then I realized that also pageant coaching was a business, I had, all these things that I just did.
All these light bulbs.
That kind of came along. And I started, it started being really time consuming, and I was just spending all of my free time giving. And then I realized this is great, but just like any professional who has something valuable to offer, they charge for it. It's a service. Yeah. So that's kind of what motivated me to leave modeling. Because years ago I was pursuing modeling and acting and all those things. And I was starting to feel really burnt out about it and kind of wanted to get out of the industry. So then pageant coaching ended up being the way to do that. And then I was still competing for USA the entire time. And I had a really brilliant friend. Her name is Jenny Leto. She goes by Leto, and she thought she'd never done pageants, but she's Filipino, and she was born in Guam. And she was like, oh my gosh, the pageant fans like in the Philippines they just go crazy for this.
They are the best pageant fans ever.
They are.
They go crazy when Philippines wins Miss Universe.
Oh yeah, it's so exciting. It's like, okay, yeah. It's like, I just want to be a part of it. Can I go to the parades?
I know.
And so because she understood that culture, she's like, I've never done a pageant, but I know people freak out over it. She's like, I think that the stuff that you do isn't normal. It's not like the norm. And I think a lot of people would want to know about more, like the behind the scenes. So she told me, she's like, I think you should start filming your life and your journey. And I think you should share this with people. So then I had the idea doing Miss Mont as I was competing for the title. I was like, I should share it. I'd always been nervous about it because I didn't have the support of friends and family. Right. It really scared me. So, because I didn't want to like have that deal with additional backlash that I was making myself susceptible to. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to do it because of the channel. I was like, it'll be fun. We're going to experiment. So then I did the whole Road to Miss Montana USA series. And from there, it just started to explode because more and more people, not only were they going, oh my gosh, now I know how to prepare for my own pageant, even though they weren't technically like a coaching type video or a how-to video, but they also said, your journey is so much like mine. And it resonated with people. And I realized the power in that, the power in telling your story. And I would say that shift in the channel of bringing in the personal aspect and like sharing more about myself and my dreams with people is what connected with them. So it's kind of a weird journey, but it all connected together. And then one of my goals ended up being creating a Road to Miss USA series. And obviously the only way you can do that is if you get to Miss USA. So I got to reference that in my Miss Montana USA interview. And I told the judges, I shared with them, this is one of my goals. And they happened to ask how long I was competing. So I told them, I was like, this is year number 7. And this is my goal. And this is why I want to do it. And I told them how I had already shared some of my story, but it would be so cool to open it up to this even bigger audience and show people what it really takes to get to that Miss USA stage and share that journey with them. And I think that also really worked well in interview, obviously, connected with them. But yeah, my journey to YouTube and pageant coaching, I don't want to say it fell in my lap, but it was the perfect storm of everything.
And I remember you at Miss USA because we were right next to each other, getting ready and everything. And I remember you were doing behind the scenes all the time.
Yep.
But the girls were loving it. I mean, your followers, your viewers were just like loving it because what they see on TV is not what's going on behind the scenes.
People have no idea.
People have no idea everything that goes into it. I mean, it's a mess back there. I mean, it's a great chaotic mess.
Yeah.
And we love it. But
I think you relate.
Hear that, and I think what you were doing was incredible.
Thank you. No, I think you relate to where it's like you and I, obviously we had the dream of going to USA and we watched the telecast every year, and our vision is this telecast image. And then we get there and we're like, this is not like TV.
Right.
This is not what I thought, right?
There was some glamour, a lot of glamour, but there's also some that there's not.
Right. There's a lot of work. Like when we got backstage, remember, I was like, are we changing in a hallway right now? What is going on?
So during those times where you're like doubting yourself if you should do this interview, like the Road to Miss USA or Miss Montana USA, what were those times where you're like, I'm just going to do it because that's fearful? I'm sure you've gotten comments too that have not been positive. Mm-hmm. So whether it's in person or, over the internet with negative comments, how do you deal with that?
Oh, yes. So those, obviously they're going to come. And sometimes, I had some kind of insane people going the extra mile to create fake profiles to be able to send messages. And it's just funny that they're literally taking their time in their life that they can't get back to do something to tear somebody else down. And what I realized in this whole kind of journey and process, I would say overall my comments are positive on my channel and from social media overall. But there's always those people who there's something about you that rubs them the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned is just hurt people. If you are happy with yourself and who you are and you're all about uplifting others, that's what's going to come from your heart. That, if that's where your heart is, that's what's going to be seen by the world. That's going to reflect in your actions and your words. But if you're somebody who is saying mean things and really, come on, think about it. Would you ever go that extra mile to create a fake profile? You have to get an email address.
That's a lot of time.
The email verification. I just think about that. I'm like, that is a chore to me. Oh, but God. When people take their time to do that, I just look at it and I'm just like, I need to pray for you because there's something inside of you that you're expressing that's coming from a dark place. So I have learned to have grace with those people. And most of the time I will ignore their comments. The only time that I would say I don't ignore comments is if they say something truly false that I was like, no, I'm going to clarify what you're saying. What you're saying isn't actually true. Just like clear the record, set the record straight. But those people are for sure going to come. And I think that that's just another obstacle, like really a mental obstacle to get over and something you have to accept if you want to be successful in anything. You think about anybody who's done anything great in their life, you're gonna have your fan club. There's always going to be somebody who's not about it. Somebody who is like, you know, team anti you, that they're like not for their success. And that's okay. You have to realize that you are not for everyone. And also for business, I would say that not everyone is your customer, and that's okay too. And realizing, okay, like it's important to know who your customer is or your client, but also going, wait, who aren't they as well? Who do I not want to be attracting? Because you need to be aware of that whenever you're putting out content, saying like, who am I talking to? Who's my real audience and who isn't? Because you have to make sure you're only really appealing to your audience that you're trying to capture.
That's good.
Part of, I would say, being intentional with what you're doing.
So speaking of advice, what kind of advice would you give young women to follow in your footsteps?
Well, I would say if you're interested in pageantry, then use all of the resources that are available to you, obviously within your budget, but planning is huge. Being intentional with your preparations, writing down and prioritizing where you want to spend your time and money. Is it more important to you to focus on interview preparation, which for me, when I work with clients, that's number one. We have to have a great interview or else we're probably not going to win the pageant. So I always prioritize interview. Not a lot of girls do. Some girls prioritize their wardrobe, and I think that's why you might see gorgeous girls on stage and you're very confused why they don't place or win. It's because they're not bringing their A game in interview. So sitting down and being realistic with yourself, self-evaluating where you are in comparison to where you need to go. And what I would always say too is to work backwards. So your goal is to be Miss USA, your goal is to be Miss America, your goal is to be whatever your dream title is. And you have to think, okay, if I'm going to reach that end goal, what are the steps I need to take to get there? So if I'm going to win this pageant, I probably have to have a top 5 score in every area of competition, which means I have to have consistency on stage. And let's say I've done a pageant before and my lowest scoring area was swimsuit. Why was my lowest scoring area swimsuit? I need to address that problem before I can get to that next step. So actually start at your end goal and reverse engineer that process and figure out and start breaking things down, whether it's month by month or it's piece by piece. Or for me, that was like financially, I would have to write down my goals and I would say, okay, I really need to do this and it costs this much money. And so I have to save enough in order to do those things. And then I started realizing some of the other stuff that I thought might have been important wasn't so much. And I started cutting extra smaller costs. So if you're preparing for pageants, be very intentional with that. Obviously, don't give up. Believe in yourself, regardless of those obstacles. Those people are going to come. Yes, it's worth it, I think, when you reach that end goal, though. So all of those hard things, they pay off in the end. And then for YouTube, you have to start. You literally just have to start. Everybody always tells me, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel, and you just have to start. The YouTubers that you see that have these mega channels that have great production and their videos are so funny and they're so entertaining, that takes time. And I'm still even in that process all the time. I'm always learning about new ways to improve my channel. But one of the biggest things I would say for a new YouTuber in terms of doing your research and preparing is, number one, identify who you want your audience to be, so you know what kind of content you're going to be making. Once you know who that audience is, start batching out your work. So when you are ready to start your channel, don't just do one video and then let's say you want to post once a week, for example, and then you only have a week to film, edit, and post the next video. Don't do that. You're going to be so stressed out. I have that 2-month window that if I want to, I can be creating the new content. I'm researching new content, and I'm also paying attention to what my audience wants. So polling your audience is very important. And I know people were like, but I'm just starting out and nobody's watching. That's fine. If you have 1 subscriber, if you have 10 subscribers, ask them what they want to see. Ask them what they like. Ask them what they don't like. Listen to them. Those are the people that, like I said, it doesn't matter where that audience is starting, but if they have that, opinion about your channel, like chances are that somebody else might agree with them. Really, it's just like a sample, right? Like if you do a test, just like their little sample group. So sample the group that you have. Treat your audience well. thank them. The other thing is engaging with your audience. It's so important in sharing about your content. So not just posting on YouTube and going like, okay, where's my viral video? Everybody come on over. And they're not going to find you that way. So you have to use whatever you have. So if you have an email list, if you have a Facebook, if you have Twitter, if you have Instagram, every time that video goes up, you need to share about it on all of those platforms, and you need to encourage people to engage with you, but also you need to engage with them. So you can't expect them to just comment on your posts if you're not commenting on theirs, if you're not visiting their channels and being sincere. That's one of the biggest things is engagement. It's not always the subscribers you have, it's not always the views you have, but it's what's more important nowadays increasingly is the comments that you're having and that real engagement. All of the algorithms now are paying attention to the quality of the comments and how long these comments are, that they're really real, that you have these real subscribers, that you have real dedicated followers. And that's how things like YouTube are working. And that's how, YouTube is pushing newer videos for newer creators. That's how they're gauging how popular they think it'll be or how valuable they think the content is to share with somebody who might be searching for something similar to you. Because if you don't have that established channel yet, they're not looking for you.
Yes.
No one is, and the other thing is really paying attention to the titles that you're writing in the videos too. YouTube is the second largest search engine. So once again, just like with pageant prep, you have to actually think backwards. So you can't just title a video as anything. You have to title it as something that you think somebody's already searching for. Remember, they're not searching for you yet, but what might they be searching for? And you can build your content around what they're already looking for so you can meet those needs. So doing your homework, doing your research first is going to be really important for launching that successful channel and being whatever you want to be within your space.
All right, so now everybody watching is going to be a professional YouTuber.
Yes.
They're going to Miss USA, they're going to Miss America, Miss United States, whatever it is, because now you have Dani Walker's professional advice. And thank you so much, Dani. Seriously, you've been incredible to talk with. And I know so many viewers right now are probably like, how can I get a hold of this woman? She's all over. She's doing like 900 things. So tell everyone how they can get a hold of you if they want pageant coaching or any advice.
Yes. So please, first of all, follow me on Instagram. I show up on Instagram every day. So that's where I would say I'm most present. A lot of people will DM me with their questions or just reach out and really just engage with me in that way. So that's really great. And then obviously subscribe, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like I said, I am going to be expanding the content on there. And if you guys have any video requests and things you want to see, I'm always listening. So please feel free to message me about that or drop me a comment with your suggestions on YouTube. I also have Twitter, and that is just Dani Walker. And then you can find me on my Facebook pages, and that's just at Dani Walker as well. And yeah, I'm kind of all over the place and a little bit of everywhere, but I will get back to you. I like responding to people. So if you guys have interest in any pageant coaching or just like life advice or motivation advice, anything like that, you can always reach out to me. I'm always trying to do my best to respond to everyone. So check it out.
Well, thank you, Dani. It's been so amazing talking with you. And thanks again just for your time. I can't wait to see you again and maybe have another girls trip.
Yes, I can't wait. Thank you for having me, Tori.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode just as much as I did. Please put your comments below, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. Until next time, be unstoppable.